When you walk into an electric vehicle dealership or browse online forums, one number seems to dominate every conversation. Range. How far can it go on a single charge? It's the first question on everyone's lips, the headline feature in every advertisement, the metric that fuels endless debates, enthusiast skeptics. Automakers have responded to this obsession, engaging in a relentless arms race, pushing battery capacities and EPA-rated range figures ever higher. We now have production cars that can travel over 500 miles, a feat of engineering that would have seemed like science fiction a decade ago. It's an impressive achievement, but I have to ask, are we focusing on the wrong thing? This single-minded pursuit of maximum range creates the perception that bigger is always better. Buyers feel they need to cross multiple state lines without stopping, even if daily life is just a commute and a grocery run. Let's challenge the status quo. Ask, how far do I truly need it to go? Finding that sweet spot could save you thousands. To break free from the grip of range anxiety, we first need a healthy dose of reality. The picture many of us have in our minds, of epic, spontaneous road trips and endless highway miles, is often a romanticized fantasy that rarely matches our actual driving habits. We imagine ourselves as cross-country adventurers, but the data tells a much more mundane and much more manageable story. For years, transportation studies have revealed a simple truth. Most of us don't drive very far on a typical day. Recent data paints a clear picture. Infographic. US, UK, Germany averages, all under 40 miles. The average American driver travels between 30 and 40 miles per day. Think about your routine. Commute to the office and back, stop at the gym, picking up the kids from school, running a few errands. Add it up. Most daily totals fall in that range. Even longer commutes, 50 or 60 miles round trip, are still predictable and limited. These aren't long-haul journeys, they're short, repetitive trips. This data unlocks a more rational approach to buying an EV. If your daily needs are approximately 40 miles, why buy a battery for 10x that range? The anxiety comes from the exceptions, not the rule. Once-a-year vacation, holiday trips to relatives, unexpected emergency requiring a long drive. Those days are a tiny fraction of annual mileage. We're buying for a handful of extreme days and ignoring 300+ days of normal driving. Anchor decisions in daily patterns. A 500-mile battery starts to look like an expensive luxury. Align choice with actual usage. A smaller, efficient EV is practical and smart. Let's do some simple math. If the average person drives around 40 miles a day, an electric vehicle with an EPA-rated range of just 200 miles is more than sufficient. In fact, it's not even close. A 200-mile range covers the average daily commute 5 times over leave home with a full charge on Monday morning, and theoretically, not need to plug in again until Friday evening. This single fact should be a game changer. The buffer is enormous. For the vast majority of your weekly driving, a 200-mile EV provides an abundance of capability. Of course, real-world range can be affected by various factors. Cold weather is a well-known culprit. Batteries are less efficient in frigid temperatures. Running the cabin heater consumes a significant amount of energy. It's not uncommon to see range drop by 20 to 30% on a freezing winter day. Driving at high highway speeds drains the battery faster. Going up steep inclines drains it faster than gentle city driving. But even if we account for a worst-case 30% reduction, that 200-mile EV still delivers 140 miles of real-world capability. That's still more than triple the average daily driving distance. The secret weapon is home charging. This is a fundamental paradigm shift from the gasoline car experience. You plug your car in at night, just like your smartphone. You wake up every single morning with a full tank of 200 miles ready to go. The benefits of opting for a smaller EV battery extend far beyond simply meeting your daily needs. In fact, choosing a lighter, more modest battery pack unlocks a cascade of advantages. Cheaper to buy, more enjoyable to drive, kinder to the environment. The most immediate and noticeable benefit is the price. The battery is, by a significant margin, the single most expensive component in an electric vehicle. Compare a 60 kilowatt-hour battery to a 100 kilowatt-hour behemoth. You could easily save thousands or even tens of thousands right at purchase. That's money that stays in your pocket or pays for other priorities. A smaller battery also changes efficiency and driving dynamics. Weight is the enemy of efficiency. A lighter car needs less energy to start and to cruise, so it often gets more miles per kilowatt hour. It's a virtuous cycle. More efficiency means more range per kWh, reducing the need for massive batteries. Weight reduction transforms how the car feels. Heavy batteries make EVs feel cumbersome, especially in corners. A lighter vehicle is more nimble and responsive. It handles better brakes more effectively and feels more engaging to drive. Finally, the environmental and ethical angle. Making large batteries is resource-intensive. It requires mining and processing minerals like lithium. So a smaller battery is not just smart for your wallet, it's more responsible. While a smaller battery is the smarter choice for most, it's important to acknowledge that it's not the right choice for everyone. There are absolutely valid reasons why some drivers genuinely need and will greatly benefit from an EV with a massive battery and a correspondingly long range. For these specific use cases, the peace of mind and practical capability offered by a long-range champion are not just a luxury, but a necessity. The key is to honestly assess if you fall into one of these categories, rather than defaulting to a long-range model out of habit or fear. The most obvious group of people who need a long-range EV are those who frequently travel long distances for work for pleasure. If your job requires you to drive several hundred miles between cities multiple times a month, if you're an avid road tripper who loves exploring far-flung destinations on weekends, a car with 400 miles of range makes perfect sense. A car with 500 miles of range makes perfect sense. Another critical consideration is charging accessibility. While home charging is the cornerstone of EV ownership for many, not everyone has that option. Millions of people live in apartments, condominiums, homes without a dedicated driveway or garage, making it difficult or impossible to install a personal charger. These drivers rely exclusively on public charging infrastructure. For them, a larger battery acts as a crucial buffer. The Lucid Air Grand Touring remains the undisputed range champion, boasting an incredible EPA-estimated 512 miles on a single charge. For drivers whose lifestyles demand the ability to travel farther, these vehicles represent the pinnacle of what is possible in the EV world today. For the vast majority of drivers who find a 200-mile range a little too tight for comfort, but see a 500-mile range as expensive overkill, there is a perfect middle ground. This is what I call the Goldilocks Zone electric vehicles, with an EPA-rated range of approximately 250 to 300 miles. This segment represents the sweet spot for the modern EV buyer, offering an ideal balance of everyday usability, long trip capability, affordability, efficiency. It's the pragmatic choice that addresses the psychological need for a safety buffer without burdening the vehicle with an excessively large and heavy battery pack. A car in this range provides more than enough power for a full week of typical commuting, even with a healthy margin for error. With 250 plus miles available from a full charge, you have the freedom to handle unexpected trips, or even forget to plug in for a night without inducing a hint of range anxiety. This category is where some of the most popular and compelling EVs on the market live. The Tesla Model 3, particularly in its long-range variant, has long been a benchmark in this space. Similarly, the Hyundai Ioniq 6 is the perfect compromise. One of the most powerful forces diminishing the need for massive EV batteries isn't found inside the car at all. It's the rapidly expanding and improving public charging infrastructure outside of it. The landscape of 2025 is vastly different from that of 2020. Fast, reliable charging stations are no longer a rare sight. They are becoming a common feature at shopping centers, highway rest stops, and grocery stores. This growing safety net of public chargers is fundamentally changing the calculation for how much range you really need, making longer journeys less daunting and reducing the pressure to buy the biggest battery available. The biggest development in recent years has been the industry-wide consolidation around a single charging standard. Tesla's North American Charging Standard, or NAS, has effectively won the format war. In a landmark shift, major automakers like Lucid Motors have announced they will be equipping their new 2025 models with NACS ports, granting them direct, seamless access to Tesla's extensive supercharger network. This is a monumental win for consumers. It removes the confusion of competing plug types and opens up thousands of the most reliable and well-maintained fast chargers in the country to a wider range of vehicles. An existing Lucid owner with a CCS port can even use an adapter, ensuring no one is left behind. This expansion means that planning a road trip is easier than ever. The fear of arriving at a remote location and being unable to find a compatible or functioning charger is quickly fading. In-car navigation systems and third-party apps can now plot routes that automatically include optimal charging stops, telling you exactly where to stop and for how long. This robust and interoperable charging network acts as an invisible extension of your car's battery. So, how do you cut through the marketing noise and choose the EV with the right amount of range for you? It comes down to a simple, honest assessment of your own life and driving habits. Forget the headline numbers. Focus on your personal reality. The perfect EV for your neighbor might be the wrong choice for you. Create your personal EV formula by answering key questions. First, track your real-world driving. Keep a mileage log for 1 week or 2 weeks. Use your car's trip meter or use a smartphone app. Don't guess. Get the actual data. How far is your daily commute? What's the longest round trip you make in a typical week? That gives a baseline for everyday needs. Now add a 50% buffer for unexpected trips. Add 30% for winter range loss. That calculation tells you the minimum range for stress-free daily driving. For most people, that lands under 150 miles. Next, be realistic about long-distance travel. How many times per year do you drive more than 200 miles in a day? Once for a summer vacation, or twice a month for work? If only a few times a year, does paying thousands extra for a huge battery make sense? Finally, consider charging access. And consider your budget. In the end, don't buy the most range, buy the right range for your life.